effectively do virtual programming. All right, well, welcome. Today we're talking about food assistance, specifically here in Alamance County with our SNAP and WIC programs. My name is Eleanor Frederick. I am the Family and Consumer Sciences Agent here in Alamance County. So I work with Cooperative Extension, a partnership of NC State and NC State University. So the first part of today's presentation will be a quick PowerPoint overview, a little bit about SNAP, a little bit about WIC, and then a little bit about the More in My Basket program at NC State, which helps people who are trying to figure out eligibility or how to apply. It's just sort of an assistance program for anyone in North Carolina who's interested in applying for SNAP. So while most of this information will be specific or kind of a generic overview of SNAP, we are going to talk a little bit about specific programs available to people who are in Alamance County. Anyone in North Carolina can call the More in My Basket folks for help and get resources from their website. So we'll talk more about that here in just a bit. As we go along, please share any questions you might have in the YouTube chat. Unfortunately, our original link did not work, but I will update the Go link so that you can view the recording from that Go link. So technology, so fun. You can also email me questions. I will throw my email in the chat really quickly. Thank you, Stephanie, for letting me know that you're here. It's good to see you, one of my fellow FCS agents. So if you have any questions, let me pull up this list right here. You can email me at this email address, and I will also share this in Spanish. Speaking of which, we will have this presentation be sort of bilingual, and my colleague Mayra from More in My Basket will talk a little bit more about that. Mayra, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, of course. Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here. Bienvenidos a todos. Muchas gracias por estar aquí. Mi nombre es Mayra Rangel y soy la facilitadora bilingüe del programa Más en mi Canasta.
Thanks, Mayra. All right. There we go. So today we have several folks joining us. This is kind of a partnership from a variety of organizations. So we have Bobbi Ruffin, who is the director of Mayco Bigelow Community Center at North Park in Burlington. Danae Pickard, who is the Economic Services Program Administrator with our Department of Social Services here in Alamance County. So she works right there with the Food and Nutrition Services. Ashley Wrenn works with Danae. So she is the Food and Nutrition Services Trainer with DSS. And then Jacque Davis works with the WIC program as a nutritionist and breastfeeding coordinator here in the county. Our other Jacque Anderson, is the Authentically Alamance Farmers Market Network Coordinator. So we'll talk a little bit about the markets and some special programs available to Alamance County folks there. And then Mayra Rangel and Melissa Roseboro are our folks from More in My Basket. So Mayra is the Outreach Bilingual Facilitator. And then Melissa is the Program Coordinator for More in My Basket. So here in Alamance County, just a little bit of information about food-related socioeconomic factors to get us started. This chart here shows Alamance County in the green bars and North Carolina in the blue. And we're looking at food insecurity, limited access to healthy foods, children eligible for free and reduced lunch, and children in poverty. So, we kind of, Alamance County, it's true that Alamance County is sort of middle of the board in a lot of health markers, and we tend to follow North Carolina in terms of these trends. We have some work to do, right? And this food assistance programs available in the county can do a lot to help combat, especially those children in poverty and that limited access to healthy food and food insecurity. So what is SNAP? So SNAP is sometimes a little confusing because you also might hear FNS, or Food and Nutrition Services. Food and Nutrition Services is the name for it here in North Carolina. So you might hear it interchangeably with the SNAP term. We'll refer to it as SNAP in our presentation, but know that FNS is the same thing. So SNAP stands for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. It's a national food assistance program helping millions of households access food and food that can help us stay healthy and grow. In North Carolina, of course, we call this program the Food Nutrition Services. Many people still know this program by its former name, food stamps. And of course, that name came from the fact that there were paper food stamp cards that you would get and then use at the grocery store. Now, you can use an EBT debit-like card. So some people refer to the program as EBT as well. So we've got lots of different acronyms. Just know that SNAP, FNS, and usually when we're talking about EBT, it's all kind of the same thing. So food nutrition services are handled at the county level. Danae, would you tell us a little bit about the program specifically in Alamance County?
Hi, everyone. Again, I'm Danae at the local DSS office, and I do work directly with the FNS or SNAP program. And there's so much information, and I know we'll go over many of those points today. But the main thing that I wanted to highlight and share with everyone today is really for the community to be aware that you don't have to have anything in place or in order to apply for benefits. There's a lot of misconceptions that you have to have a photo ID, you have to have proof of your income and, proof of residency and other things before you make an application. And we just really encourage everyone, if you have a food need in your household, that you just take that chance and go ahead and apply. That application will be assigned to a worker, and then that worker will be in contact with you and really walk you through that process. They'll make you aware of anything that they do need to complete the process. But before you take that step, just know that you don't have to have anything together, ready, or in line. We really want to make it as encouraging as possible to go ahead and make that application without trying to line up all those things prior to. So that would just really be what I want to highlight in the beginning, that, go ahead and make that application and we'll walk you through the process afterwards.
And if you already have any questions, if you have any experience applying for food nutrition services in the past, or if you're completely new to it, let us know in the chat. Again, you can put your questions in the chat, or you can email them to me, and we'll get your questions answered. A little bit more about SNAP. So the program, how does the program work? People who apply for SNAP are eligible receive a set amount of benefits every month. So benefits used to come in the form of those paper stamps, right, that were used to make food purchases. And now, when you're approved for SNAP, you get this plastic credit card like card, an EBT card, and you use it like you would use a debit card. So we'll talk about the card a little bit more, but first, let's look at some of the food items that you can buy with SNAP benefits. So not everything in the grocery store is something that you can buy with SNAP, but there is a whole lot that you have access to. Eligible food items include fresh and frozen meats and seafood, fresh, frozen, and canned vegetables, meat, cheese, and other dairy items, breads, rice, cereal, and other grains, and then deli items as well, like meats and cheeses. You can purchase most food items, but there are some restrictions. So things that are food items that you aren't able to purchase with SNAP include hot foods, prepared food that could be eaten in the store. So like a hot, already prepared pizza, something like that. Can't purchase that with SNAP. Also can't purchase non-food items like pet food, soaps, paper products, or household supplies. You're not able to purchase vitamins and medicines, and then beer, wine, liquor, cigarettes, or tobacco are not eligible purchases with SNAP either. There's a whole lot that you can get with your SNAP benefits, and you have a lot of choice there as well. There's also a lot of choice of where you can shop with your EBT card. So you can go to grocery stores. You can go to, of course, you can go to convenience stores, dollar stores, larger discount stores like Walmart or Target, membership warehouses like Costco, some farmers markets. We'll talk more about farmers markets in just a sec. And then there's an increasing number of stores where you can use your SNAP or EBT benefits online. So most stores, if they accept SNAP, will have some version of, this sign or a note, like on this farmers market sign from Moore County that talks about accepting SNAP and EBT. But you can also go on their website and check. You can call to check ahead to make sure. But there are a lot of retailers who accept SNAP. Okay. For farmers markets specifically, we have 3 markets here in the county where you can definitely use your SNAP benefits, and your SNAP benefits go a little bit further. So the Authentically Alamance Market Network in Elon, in Mebane, and in the North Park area of Burlington, you can use SNAP benefits to get the Double Bucks program. So would you tell us a little bit more about the Double Bucks program, Jacque?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Jacque Anderson. Like Eleanor said, I'm the market manager for the Authentically Alamance Farmers Market Network, which is all 3 of the markets she just mentioned. We are very happy to accept SNAP and EBT, and we actually have some grant funding that allows us to kind of stretch the SNAP dollar. So we have what's called a Double Bucks program, which is where we can double all SNAP purchases up to $10. So if you were going in expecting to spend $10, we can give you $20 to spend to kind of increase your purchasing power and just to buy some local food without any extra cost to you. And then looking down below, so you can also use your SNAP benefits to purchase plants to plant at home. So a wide variety of our vendors offer plants that are pre-grown, pre-seeded and sprouted and they're ready for you to put in the ground. So that's another way that you can use your SNAP benefits at the farmers market and also utilize the Double Bucks program that we offered. I'll put the exact locations over in the chat, but I'll pass it over to Bobbi to talk a little bit more about the plants and what you can do with them.
Hey there, sunshines. My name is Bobbi Ruffin. I work with Burlington Recreation and Parks. I'm the director at the Mayco Bigelow Community Center at North Park. So I work very closely with Jacque, whom you just heard from. And so I'm talking today a little bit more about how we can help with your endeavors in feeding your family. So after you go to farmers market on Tuesday at North Park and you buy these seeds, and then if you don't know what to do with them, you can join us in our Let's Grow Together workshop series where we're teaching families. First, we're inviting them to a safe space outdoors, and we're doing workshop series of how to grow your own garden at home, what to do with the food that you grow, different recipes, things like that. So that actually starts this Saturday, April 17th at 10 a.m. And if you want more information about that, you can visit the City of Burlington website and then go to Mayco Bigelow and we'll get you connected.
Oh my gosh, that sounds awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Bobbi and Jacque. If y'all want to throw links into the Zoom chat, I will transfer them over to the YouTube chat so everybody watching can get that as well. So yeah, you can use your SNAP benefits to buy plants and seeds related to food, food plants, herbs or vegetable plants or fruit plants. And according to the USDA, every dollar spent on seeds, plants, fertilizer, home gardeners can grow about $25 worth of produce. So that's a real investment in your, the food that you can grow. So take advantage of the programs at North Park and let us know if you have any questions about growing food. That's another topic that we at the Extension Office can help you with. Okay, moving on to the next stuff. So just to reiterate, if you're joining us midway through the presentation, today we're talking about SNAP and WIC here in Alamance County, food assistance programs that can help you access nutritious foods, feed your family. And we're also talking about the More in My Basket program that shares its name with the title of our presentation. And the program itself at NC State is a way to kind of reach people, help out with the application process, answer questions about eligibility, et cetera, et cetera. So one cool thing about SNAP is how it benefits the community. Every dollar spent on food and nutrition services or SNAP benefits generates nearly twice that amount in economic activity. So every dollar that you spend is going to have double that impact in your own community, which is awesome for Alamance County, particularly, if we're thinking about spending our dollars on local food from our local farmers. It's really wonderful. Okay. So a little bit about how to apply. Now, this is specific to food nutrition services or SNAP. We'll talk a little bit later about WIC specifically, but the basic steps are completing an application. The More in My Basket staff at NC State can help you complete the application, and then returning that application back to DSS. So if you get help from the More in My Basket staff, then you will get kind of a printed copy sent to you along with a pre-stamped envelope. So all you have to do is sign and send it back to the Department of Social Services. And then you'll set up a time to talk with a caseworker from DSS. So Ashley, I know things are a little bit different right now. Could you tell us a bit about the option to apply over the phone?
Yes, so of course, with all of the changes due to COVID, of course, we want to keep our clients safe. So right now, it is month to month. It has to be approved by the USDA, and the state has to apply for it. But right now, through April, and they're doing it month by month, but through April, you can actually call in and complete the application over the phone. And that completes the signature requirement, because usually the reason we can't do it over the phone is because we do have to have a signature. But right now with this waiver, that part can be done over the phone. As well as we also have our website now you can submit, and there's also the ePass website where people can complete it online. That's epass.nc.gov. So there's a lot of different options of ways that people can apply that help with accessibility, as well as preventing COVID spread. So we will work with you if you have any concerns. Also, I wanted to mention real quick, I know there's probably a concern with interpreters, and we do have 2 Spanish interpreters, as well as we have access to the language line. So it doesn't matter what language a client speaks, we can meet you where you need to be.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. Yeah, thank you for mentioning the ePass website as well. So that's an option for that online application system, and we will add that link to the chat as well here in just a moment. So speaking of applying, the application should take less than 30 days. It shouldn't take too terribly long. But everybody has, you know, some different circumstances that they may have specific questions about. And that's where the More in My Basket support comes into this. So if you have any questions, if you aren't sure about, you know, whether you're eligible or exactly how to apply, or if you just want some help walking through the process, there are staff who are available to help by phone, you know, business hours, Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. Anytime you can call and they'll help you out. They can answer any questions you might have, kind of make sure that you are eligible with a little quick eligibility screening, and help you complete that application. So Melissa, Mayra, do y'all have any specifics that you'd like to share about More in My Basket?
Yes, I would like to confirm just what Eleanor said about the program More in My Basket, and feel free to call us. And I do speak Spanish as well, so si tiene algunas preguntas o si no sabe si es elegible o no, o si tiene preguntas sobre cómo funciona el programa, para eso estamos, para servirle. Ahí está nuestra información, tanto en inglés como en español. Entonces, se puede comunicar con nosotros, también puede comunicarse a través de nuestra página web o a través también de nuestros correos electrónicos, pero prácticamente en los teléfonos que aparecen en la pantalla se puede comunicar con nosotros, y agradecemos el tiempo que toma para recibir esta información.
And I don't have anything to add. Eleanor, you summed it up. You and Mayra summed it up very well. We are here to help if anyone needs assistance with just the application portion of this process. We'll be happy to help you.
Awesome. All right. So a little transition. We're going to chat a little bit about WIC as well with one of our WIC nutritionists, Jacque. So WIC, many people who are eligible for SNAP might also be eligible for WIC. And WIC is the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for women, infants, and children, hence the acronym, funded by the United States Department of Agriculture. It's commonly referred to as the WIC program. County health departments, community and rural health centers, and community action agencies provide WIC program services. And here in Alamance County, the WIC program is managed at the health department by folks like Jacque. Jacque, did you want to add anything about kind of the WIC overview?
Not so much to the WIC overview, maybe at the end after we had talked a little bit more about who's eligible and how to apply.
Sure. So rolling right into who is eligible for WIC, as the name suggests, women, infants, and children are eligible for WIC, but more specifically, WIC benefits are for children who are up to age 5. Oh, didn't move my slide here. There we go. Children up to age 5, infants, pregnant women, and then breastfeeding women who have had a baby in the last 12 months, or women who've had a baby in the last 6 months, who may be formula feeding, but still in the recovery process from having a child. So benefits that WIC provides includes the food benefits. So nutritious foods for infants, for women and children, specific to needs of those different, ages and stages of life. And then there's nutrition education through WIC, referrals to healthcare, and also some breastfeeding support and promotion specific to families who are receiving WIC benefits. So kind of following you through that pregnancy through, the early development of your child up to age 5. So Jacque, what else would you like to share? We've also got the application information. You can call. This number is specific to Alamance County. So this is the Alamance County WIC, phone at the health department. You can also go online to this link, the WIC referral link, and I'm going to put that in the chat as well as Jacque shares some additional info.
First thing really quick, it might have been my typo, but the phone number for Alamance County WIC is 570-6745. So I apologize for that. We can put that in the chat.
That's probably me. I am notorious for switching numbers around. I will put the correct number in the chat, and then I will make an amendment in case anybody's watching the recording later.
Some other benefits that WIC provides: specific foods, for example, cereals, eggs, fruits, vegetables, milk, cheese, yogurt, peanut butter, beans, canned tuna and salmon for exclusively breastfeeding women. Food packages are not the same for everybody, and exclusively breastfeeding woman is going to get different food than a 1-year-old, for example. So that is something to take into consideration. We do have a lot of breastfeeding support here. I am the breastfeeding coordinator. I am an international board certified lactation consultant. So if there are any questions or concerns about breastfeeding, we do educate on that prenatally. We also have a breastfeeding peer support program here. We have 2 breastfeeding peer counselors on staff. They both do speak Spanish wonderfully. Their job, it is required for them to have been on WIC prior while breastfeeding their babies, and their job is to support women in the postpartum while they're breastfeeding their babies. The World Health Organization and the American Academy of Pediatrics do recommend, suggest, and encourage breastfeeding as a baby's first food for up to 2 years or longer, depending on mom and baby's choice. That's a whole nother conversation. But we do have that support program here to help moms reach their breastfeeding goals, to exceed their breastfeeding goals, to help make their wishes come true, basically. But we will go ahead and move on to the next slide and talk more about everything else that WIC provides.
I think that is the last slide. Yeah, that is it. So I will stop sharing, but if you would share any other programs specific to Alamance County, Jacque, that I will stop sharing here. If you'll share any other programs specific to Alamance County, and then I will share all those details in the chat so that folks can take advantage of this.
Okay, we are doing as many appointments as possible over the phone. If you do come in, we're not going to turn you away. So definitely call. We can do your application process over the phone. We can do your nutrition education over the phone. We even have a website that nutrition education can be completed on. But we can talk more about that once WIC participants are certified. Every 3 months minimum, we do nutrition education. Right now, something really awesome. Right now, well, not right now, starting in June, July, August, and September, our fruit and vegetable dollars are increasing from $9 to $11 per person to $35, just for those 4 months. Specifically for fruits, vegetables, canned, frozen, fresh, anything you can get at Food Lion, Lowe's Foods, Walmart. Alamance County WIC is not a participant of the farmers market nutrition program. Other counties across North Carolina that are do provide extra farmers market vouchers for extra dollars to spend at farmers markets for fruits and vegetables only. However, Alamance County is not part of that. I've been told, hopefully somebody is listening that can make this happen, but I've been told that the farmers I guess, chose not to fill out the paperwork, and that's the only thing stopping them from accepting those WIC farmers market vouchers. Those are printed checks. Anyway, what else?
Yeah, we can work on that.
Yes, I want to.
Becky Anderson.
That is a huge deal. Not only locally for commerce, but also for farmers for our land. Again, that's a whole nother spiel. One last quick thing. If you do call to apply, just prepare to have income, because WIC does provide for low income families. We do need some information on income in the entire household, proof of identification, so anything with your name on it, anything with the North Carolina address on it. Another thing that a lot of people don't know is if you have Medicaid, you're automatically eligible for WIC. Whether it's your primary or secondary insurance, you got Medicaid, you can have WIC. I think that's all the information I have to share. So if y'all have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Jacque, would you repeat the, you said June, July, August, and September, the WIC benefits for, is it fruits and vegetables or just fruits that are?
Strictly fruits and vegetables. They're combined. So they will go up to $35 for 4 months.
$35 per month, is that right?
A month.
All right, just making sure I'm adding that to the chat. That's awesome. Thank you. All right, so we do have one question in the chat, and this is probably for Danae and Ashley. How long would I be able to receive SNAP benefits if I was approved and started receiving them?
So there's really not, for most participants, any type of time limits imposed. It is as long as you remain eligible. Most cases are reviewed either every 6 months or every 12 months. There is a specific category that North Carolina we call our ABODs. You're between 18 and 49 that they're able-bodied adults. However, the state is under a waiver for that program right now, so any new applicants do not fall under the ABOD category. The ABODs do have a limit of 3 months within 3 years. There are some ways that they can earn additional time, but for the most part, most of our applicants do not have time limits imposed as long as they remain eligible. And again, just to reiterate, even that particular category is under waiver due to the pandemic right now, and we do not anticipate it expiring until the public health emergency has been terminated. So we invite everyone to apply, and again, new applicants, there's no time limit as long as they're eligible at this time.
All right, that's awesome. So let's, there's a great question from Bobbi in the chat. So how are WIC benefits given? Is it a card like SNAP or is it paper? So Jacque, you want to take that one? And then specific support for women of color in the breastfeeding program. That's another great follow-up question to that.
Okay, so since 2018, we do have EBT-like cards now. We do not have paper vouchers in the state of North Carolina. Not every state over the United States. As far as breastfeeding support goes, if you're WIC eligible, you get breastfeeding support. It does not matter what language you speak. It does not matter where you came from, who you are, where you live. If you're on WIC and you are breastfeeding, you get support. I will mention we are hosting lactation students from North Carolina A&T. We do right now this year. We don't have any other lactation interns right now. I think we're getting another one in May from another program, maybe UNC, if I remember correctly. So there are a variety of lactation consultants available or lactation support. But regardless who you are, if you're on WIC, you're a breastfeeding woman, we're available to support you.
That's wonderful. Okay, couple other questions. Here we have, if I am not a citizen, but my children are US citizens, would I be eligible for SNAP on their behalf? So Danae and Ashley, or I know Mayra and Melissa, y'all get questions about eligibility as well. So anybody who wants to take that one, you're welcome to.
Okay, I guess I can answer that. Yes, people can apply or families can apply as long as someone in the household is a U.S. citizen. For instance, we have cases where the parents, they don't have their social security number, but if their kids were born in the United States, they can apply on behalf of their kids.
We also wanted to add that there are certain statuses apart from U.S. citizen where you can still be eligible for food stamps. So if you have been a lawful or legal permanent resident for a certain amount of years, children that also have a status, so it could be the LPR, refugee, been granted asylum, things like that. So you can also sometimes be a non-U.S. citizen, but if you have a certain status, you actually could be eligible. So we wanted to throw that out there as well.
That's awesome. Thanks, guys. So if you have questions about your eligibility, so this would be a great question to call the More in My Basket helpline or local food nutrition services. And I will throw, I'm realizing I had not yet put, there's lots of things to put in the chat. I will put the number for it's the DSS helpline that will get you to the food nutrition services answers as well. I'll put that in the chat, and those are some of the great questions that they get on a regular basis. Another good question that we've got is it true that college students can receive SNAP? And then we'll follow up with some questions about using SNAP benefits online.
Yes, so for the student question, so normally students for the FNS program kind of start off ineligible. They have to usually meet some sort of work requirement or have children of a certain age. But recently there has been a COVID waiver that has come through where if they, as part of their financial aid package, if it includes work study, or if they have an expected family contribution of 0, that they can actually be exempt from that requirement and be eligible right now. And actually the Department of Education has sent a notification out to those households to let them know you might be eligible. And then if they have concerns about the other exemptions, we can always go through those. A lot of times the normal exemptions are working or having children, that sort of thing. But right now that waiver is in place.
That's great. Danae and Ashley, would you all, I know I'm calling on you guys a lot. There are some great food nutrition questions. What about Amazon grocery? Can you buy groceries from Amazon using your SNAP benefits? And then could y'all also talk a little bit about other online options?
Yes, so actually you can. Not only does Amazon have a program where you can get Prime half off, which can also be helpful. They actually also have where you can do the online purchasing. So you register your EBT card just like you would, like your regular debit card, and you can purchase EBT eligible items through Amazon and, have the same shipping options. And that can be helpful too, because there's a lot of Prime deals. You can get bundles, all kinds of things like that. So that can be helpful. Some of the other online retailers right now, I believe, are BJ's, Food Lion, Aldi. There's a place called Carly C, which I don't think is local, but it's an option. So there's a few of the places that are doing I believe Walmart as well. And Walmart's usually, I think they've been pretty consistent with that too. That was a good one, yeah. Walmart. So there's a lot of places right now, and those will actually stay in place. So what we've been told is that the online purchasing, even after COVID and everything is gone back, those will stay in place, which is going to be really helpful.
That's awesome. I feel like that's one good thing maybe that has come from the pandemic is those online options. Jacque Davis, are there any online options for WIC?
I was actually just typing that in the chat. Currently, no, there is no grocery pickup. There is no online ordering and shipping, but yet, because WIC is working on that, that will be available in the future, but sadly not at the moment.
That's okay. It's coming. The wheels are turning. That's good. That's great. All right, let's see what other questions we might have. Melissa, any questions that you get frequently on the helpline that you'd like to offer any answers to?
No, not any that I can think of off of the top of my head, but if Ashley, if you all know anything that would be helpful to, we get a lot of calls from seniors, any pointers for seniors or anything when they're completing their application, and typically it's one member household for seniors with just either a very small Social Security check and not very many of them have pensions. So any, I guess, any pointers or tips from them when they're applying for SNAP benefits?
I think two main things come to my mind, just because if they've dealt with other programs or maybe they've received benefits further in the past, there were different requirements at those times or things that we may have not had access to then that we have access now. So generally, if they're receiving some type of Social Security income or benefit, we're able to access that through our online system. So they don't have to worry about trying to find letters from Social Security office or provide proof of that income. Also, a lot of times they try to gather bank statements and things like that. And again, in many cases, we don't have to look at reserves or bank accounts unless it's over a certain amount. So I just try to encourage them to not feel that stress of trying to gather all that documents prior to applying, that there's a lot of things that we can access online or even reach out on their behalf to gather for them, because I know transportation is often a concern for our elderly population. So we try to go above and beyond and assist those participants as well as others. But that's generally what we hear a lot of, is trying to get that information to us when we already may have it in-house.
Okay, and I'm glad you brought that up. To kind of piggyback off of that question, another concern we get is a lot of seniors who have a bunch of medical expenses. So we kind of tell them, if you have those bills with you, if you want to turn it in with your application, that's an option. A lot of them do pay their Medicare premium. So is that information you all need with the application as well?
So you don't have to have it at the time that you apply, but obviously if on the application or through conversations they indicate that they do have those medical expenses, we do encourage them to provide that information because it could provide them more benefits. So a lot of times now, if they're paying their Medicare premium is deducted from their check monthly, we're also able to verify that online. So they wouldn't have to provide that information, but prescriptions, doctor bills, doctor visits, hospital stays, those things we encourage them to provide. A lot of times we can provide a fax number if they'll reach out to their physician or hospital, and they'll send it straight over to us to avoid them having to run around if they don't have easy access.
All right. So obviously the pandemic has changed a lot about everyday life. So Jacque and then Danae and Ashley, would y'all talk a little bit about how that might have changed eligibility for, if that's opened up eligibility a little bit more for families?
It has for WIC, again, because everything can be done over the phone. Normally we would require proof of income and proof of ID. And now, of course, everything's over the phone. So it's kind of one of our COVID waivers is that you do not need to be present physically in the office in order to have your to become WIC certified. Also, so I think that's just the biggest thing is just that you don't have to be present. It is encouraged that if you do have that information to be emailed to us or scanned or faxed or something like that, but because everything is over the phone because of that in-person waiver, it's what we're told.
That's awesome. Thank you, Danae and Ashley. And then I know that we also, there's something called PEBT. Would y'all chat about that for a second?
Yeah, so as far as the COVID changes, there's quite a few. So I'll talk on some of them and then Danae can speak on the other ones. But we mentioned the able-bodied adult without dependents waiver. So that's a big one because we have a lot of adults without children who aren't disabled who normally would be limited in their eligibility. So that's a big one. We have the student waiver. We also have for our clients, we have policy around drug felonies. So if a client has a drug felony before August 23rd, 1996, we wouldn't look at it. But the ones that occur after that, we do have to look at. And generally they're disqualified, except for ones that occurred in North Carolina that are classified as an H or an I. So normally those, if they go to a local mental health and get an assessment, they'll be eligible. That right now is waived. So those individuals who normally maybe they have some hesitancy around it or are worried about doing that in person, that is actually waived right now too. We also have a temporary 15% increase in the allotments. So that's another benefit. And that has come through, that's extended through September. So that'll help a lot of families as well.
And just to briefly talk about the PEBT program. So that is not administered by the local DSS office, but obviously since we are associated with food stamps in the community, we do get a lot of questions from parents, grandparents, guardians in the community related to PEBT. So we do try to stay educated. We try to make sure our reception as well as other staff can direct customers in the community to the appropriate places about the program. But overall, just to share that families do not have to apply for PEBT. That is determined through eligibility set by the USDA. And if the child meets the eligibility requirements and their learning circumstances fall into those categories, which for most of Alamance County has been, then they were notified by the state regarding eligibility. However, if you feel like your child was eligible and didn't receive that information, you can contact your child's school and they should be able to direct you appropriately, or you can contact the EBT call center. And I can provide that phone number in the chat box for anyone that needs to reach out to them. They have direct access to that eligibility information and it can assist parents and guardians with that issue if they felt like they were eligible and didn't receive it. We have learned one thing through this process. In the earlier rounds of PEBT, we did assist the state and school system with addresses. So if EBT cards were returned, that information was provided to us. And what we've learned really through this is that it's very important that parents and guardians update their child's address at their school that they're enrolled in. That is the best and easiest way to make sure that you get prompt information about what's going on with the PEBT program. But again, I'll put that number in the chat box if anybody has any questions. Also, they can call here and we'll provide that assistance and numbers for them to call with more direct questions.
That's awesome. Thank you. I am putting a link in the chat as we approach 1 o'clock. I am putting a link in the chat that's a little survey. So if this was at all helpful, we hope so. is the first of maybe some more programs like this where we all partner together and share information about, food assistance in Alamance County and answer your questions and make sure that, that we're all people too, right? We just want to help out and make sure that you all get the access to the food assistance that you're eligible for. So please take a moment to fill out this survey. I'm also going to put that in the chat with instructions in Spanish, and you can choose which language you take the survey in. Okay, and then I'm gonna pull the PEBT calls information. Any last thoughts or information that anybody wants to share before we head out?
Yes, I want to mention that even though this information is just for Alamance County, I just want to make sure that everyone knows that More in My Basket is a statewide program. So we assist anyone in North Carolina. So it doesn't matter if you live in Alamance or Mecklenburg, Durham, Wake, we assist anyone within the 100 counties. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows about that, about More in My Basket.
And just in case you're watching the recording and the live chat is not replaying, I will take all of the resources that we've shared there and put them in the description below so that you can find all of those details in one spot. And if you have any questions for anyone who has presented today, I'll also share everybody's title and their contact information so that you can get in touch with folks if you're interested in Bobbi's gardening program or the farmers markets with Jacque, or want to chat with Jacque Davis about WIC, Danae and Ashley about food nutrition. And then of course, Melissa and Mayra, you can call the More in My Basket assistance line. Thank you all so much. We have really enjoyed chatting with you today, and remember to go take the survey. Thanks again. Okay.